Now, before I go any further, I want to offer a brief disclaimer. In case anyone is offended by the word bullshit, I want to say that I'm going to try to use it as little as possible. I'm only going to say it when I'm directly quoting someone else, and otherwise I'll use the expression BS. So what exactly is BS? It's crucial that we answer this question because you can't fight something you can't identify. So how do you know BS when you see it? Fortunately, some contemporary defenders of critical reason have written on the subject, and in what follows I'll briefly discuss these two prominent examples. The first is Harry Frankfurt, who wrote an essay called On Bullshit in 1986, and the second is G.A. Cohen, who wrote a response to Frankfurt's essay called Complete Bullshit. Each one clarifies a distinct kind of BS that you should criticize in the writings of others and try to avoid in your own writing. So we'll take a brief look at each one. To begin with Harry Frankfurt's essay on bullshit, in a certain respect, it would be fair to call Frankfurt the father of the contemporary study of BS. He wrote his essay in 1986 when he was teaching philosophy at Yale. That year, he participated in a weekly interdisciplinary seminar where he delivered the first draft of the essay, which he soon after published in an academic journal. Later, in 2005, he republished the same article as a very slim book that went on to become a bestseller. When the New York Times asked about his motivations for writing the book, he said the following: I had always been concerned about the importance of truth, the way in which truth is foundational to civilization, and the various deformities of it that were current. I'd been concerned about the prevalence of BS and the lack of concern for truth and respect for truth that it represented. So here's the famous introduction from Frankfurt's essay. One of the most salient features of our culture is that there is so much bullshit. Everyone knows this. Each of us contributes his share. But we tend to take the situation for granted. Most people are rather confident of their ability to recognize bullshit and to avoid being taken in by it. So the phenomenon has not aroused much deliberate concern or attracted much sustained inquiry. In consequence, we have no clear understanding of what bullshit is, why there is so much of it, or what function it serves. Frankfurt aimed to remedy this by offering a theory of BS. His basic claim is that the essence of BS is a lack of connection to a concern with truth, or an indifference to how things really are. So you can immediately see the connection to sophistry. What it is it's a basic disregard for the truth. One of the most interesting moves Frankfurt makes in this article is to compare the bullshitter to the liar. The liar, he tells us, deliberately promulgates a falsehood. And this means that the liar is inescapably concerned with truth values. After all, in order to invent a lie at all, he must think he knows what is true. And in order to invent an effective lie, he must design his falsehood under the guidance of that truth. The bullshitter, on the other hand, doesn't aim to misrepresent the facts. He might not even know what the facts are. So the liar conceals the fact that he wants to lead us away from a correct apprehension of reality, while the bullshitter hides the fact that truth values of his statements are of no central interest to him. That is, he tries to cover up the fact that his intention is neither to report the truth nor to conceal it. Therefore, a liar, Frankfurt says, at least responds to the truth and is to that extent respectful of it. For the bullshitter, however, all these bets are off. He is neither on the side of the true nor on the side of the false. His eye is not on the facts at all, except insofar as they may be pertinent to his interest in getting away with what he says. He does not care whether the things he says describe reality correctly. Bullshit is in this regard a greater enemy of the truth than lies are. So why is there so much BS? Bullshit is unavoidable whenever circumstances require someone to talk without knowing what he is talking about. Thus, the production of bullshit is stimulated whenever a person's obligations or opportunities to speak about some topic are more excessive than his knowledge of the facts that are relevant to the topic. This is a real danger for students. If you don't spend enough time researching your topic before writing your essay, there's a real danger that you'll produce some Frankfurt BS. And the result isn't pretty. BS is no substitute for research.